Yes. Uzma, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Hi, Marilina. Hi, Jacob. How are you guys doing?
We're well, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Good evening.
Good
And
evening,
thank you.
Marilina. Okay, so we just want to start off with our first live discussion for Autism Awareness Month. The lives will be taking place every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And today we have Miss Marilina De Costa as our first guest for this month. So Race and Uzma Akser Coaching are collaborating this month to support autism awareness and share first-hand stories from the community and how we can all work together for a more inclusive society. In today's first live for this month, we would like to introduce Marilena De Costa. Marilena has a background in law, and she has over 20 years of experience in the disability field. She is a founder of the Butterfly, an advocacy agency endorsed by MAN, the Authority of Social Contribution, Abu Dhabi, to enhance the lives of people of determination. Marilena has direct experience in the disability field, as she was diagnosed over 30 years ago with a chronic condition herself, and also has had many families who have also been impacted. She's extremely passionate about being their voice and advocating for their rights and for all the people in the community here in the UAE. Please welcome Marilena.
Thank you. Good evening. What a beautiful presentation. And thank you. It's an honor to be here with you and to your first session of this amazing series. So it's really a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Uzma. Thank you, Drago.
So Marilena, we can, if you're okay to start off with the questions, is that okay?
Yes, I'm ready, and I feel quite comfortable, Jacob, because Uzma is a long-term friend, collaborator, and so I feel at home. So it's great. So
That's
Uzma,
nice.
be clement when you ask the questions. Don't be tough.
Sure. So we really are interested in when you created the Butterfly and the reason behind it.
The Butterfly started in September 2019 as an incubator of MAN, the Authority of Social Contribution, but and was selected out from 150 application to enhance the life of people of determination and their families in Abu Dhabi. And but the idea of the Butterfly wasn't something that started at that time. It started when I moved 10 years earlier in the UAE from Europe. In Europe, I used to set up advocacy services, and I experienced firsthand the power of advocacy in empowering people of determination and the families. Practically, in some form, there are so many similitude between coaching and advocacy, because it brings a person for where it is in a particular at a particular time to where he wants to be. And the reason why the person is not where he wants to be, instead being personal reason, they are because the nature of society is unequal and unfair. So many groups and many people, they are at disadvantage because let's say I used to work with people with literacy problems or immigrants, but then I specialized in the disability field, and that was, I believe, that was my passion, and it was very successful. So the idea was an idea that was there, and I tried many times, and I failed, and then at the end, I'm very grateful to the Abu Dhabi government that trust and believe and gave me this opportunity. So the reason is because I've been always very passionate about the social field, also having a critical condition and case sibling with disability has exposed me to the challenges and to what is needed to improve their life. So I think the butterfly is not all the answers, but is one answer to solve the problems, the challenges of people of determination nowadays.
Thank you, Marilina. That's beautiful. I really like the way you've explained the vision that you have for the butterfly and how it can benefit many. Thank you so much. What do you do with the butterfly? I just wanted to ask you what your typical day would look like.
Oh, 24 hours, challenging 24 hours. So mostly the butterfly has three scopes of service. One is to be a centralized hub of information. So there is a lot of fragmentation of information in the disability field. When a person is diagnosed or doesn't know what to do, where to go. So with a lot of time wasted in searching through internet and not in a very appropriate way and manner. So what we do, we try to overcome this fragmentation, being a centralized hub information on rights, entitlements, and services available. So part of the day is spent through WhatsApp, where we have 160 families part of, trying to network to answer to queries. And it's not like we have all the answers. Sometimes we say, okay, we will find out the answer and we'll revert, because information is one of the most powerful tool of empowerment. If you know where to go, half of the battle is nearly won. You are informed. You can make informed choices. Another part of the day is spent on representation. So how it's called representative advocacy. So we have individuals, they have specific issues. Let's say a child, they wish to be enrolled in mainstream school, or a person that wish to is looking for affordable therapies, or to inclusion in community, we started recently also to open communication with corporates for inclusive employment. So it's very broadened, but at the end, it makes a difference in the life of a family to have a professional advocate along the journey, helping until the case or whatever issues or challenge you have is sorted. So it makes a huge difference. People don't feel left alone anymore. So the third thing, see, to scope information, representation, then we have something that we call systemic advocacy. We interact with many government agencies to advocate for changes at policy level. We are very lucky with the government of UAE, and because they are moving very fast towards an inclusive society. But the journey is long. It's not going to happen overnight. So in the meantime, we are there. Probably inclusion will not happen. Total inclusion will not happen overnight. So, but we are there for the families. And so we report back to government agency about challenges, let's say, with the mainstream inclusion in education, or about insurance coverage for therapies. We open a dialogue and we try to be there with them, working towards new policies and procedures and improvement. So
Wow.
It's a broadened scope of services. But it's much needed. And one thing that I don't want to undermine, that through the butterfly as a form of a kind of ripple effect on people and on community. because we help the person. Our ultimate goal is to help the person of determination, but helping the person of determination, we help the family. Helping the family, we help the system, we help the service providers, the community in general. Everybody is much happier having this kind of support.
Absolutely. This is beautiful. And you've mentioned people of determination a few times, and parents and families. Who else benefits from the butterfly?
So certainly we collaborate with service providers. So we many times service providers call us and refer let's say people of determination to us, and in order to find better solution, and say, how can you help this family, do you have another options? Or let's say government agency, we have been part of the task force with the Early Childhood Authority and the Human Resource Authority for the new employment law. So it's good that we have an open communication to report on our findings. So it's a mutual help. I think we touch many lives and many organizations. Parents, they come to our weekly support groups. It's 1 year and a half that every Wednesday at 6 o'clock we have a weekly support group with guest speakers, professional in the medical field, in the educational field, that give free advices to parents, free advices to people of determination. We have the participation of professionals from different entities. It's an ambitious project and vision, the one of the butterfly, but it's like we wish to work as a social aggregator. We are not directly involved in the delivery of the ultimate service. So we are not specialists in education, or we are not specialists in medical, but we are a social aggregator, a force that wish to bring together efforts, energy to make this community a more inclusive community.
Yeah, that's great. True collaboration.
Yes.
True collaboration and synergy between organizations to get the right support for the people that need it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we believe in synergies of efforts. We believe in synergies of efforts, and this is another reason I'm very pleased to be with you guys today, because everybody has a talent, has something to add to make this community a better community. So there is
Thank
always
you.
a space to join forces.
We're equally happy to have you, Marilina, on this today. Thank you so much. Can you please share your experience so far in the UAE?
I would lie if I say that has been an easy journey because I'm 2 years and a half, and I started as an individual, as Marilena, and actually it's a bit hilarious. It makes me smile thinking the way I started. So I remember the first week out of this incubator project, so enthusiastic, everything will be perfect, everything will go so smoothly. And so to get encouragement, I invited I invited many parents, but only 4 parents attended, 4 or 5 parents. I remember Mohammed, Uzma, Shadia, Deborah. I don't know, there were few parents. I still remember their names and their face. And in a overly professional way, I put a PowerPoint presentation for parents about my vision.
Yeah, and I'm
So
smiling here. I remember I'm smiling sitting here now.
the reaction was, sorry, you want to do this on your own and with 4 parents? And I say, yes, I want to do this with we are not alone, we will join forces. But it was an hilarious start. It was an over naive start, because I thought it was going to be very, very easy. But at the same time, if you try to change a system, if you try to improve and do something different from what is in place, you have to be prepared for the challenges. And
Yeah.
I've been working as a volunteer for the Butterfly for 2 years on a full-time capacity, believing that it was going to happen. And it's happening. And actually, I'm happy because now we are working with corporates, we are working with government agencies, people they trust the service users and service provider, they trust us. And one thing that please, Uzma, allowed me to add is that advocacy it's underpinned by strong ethical value, ethical principle. So
Sure.
we are ethical in representing the client's best interest without conflict of interest, with impartiality and independency. And we are very, very, at the end, every day, am I acting in the client's best interest? Am I doing my best? Am I compromised by external factor? So if I think I'm compromised, I just step out, because it's important be ethical in doing this work. We are working with people that they are not vulnerable by their nature, but made vulnerable by society and the way is structured. So we have to be very careful in the process of empowerment.
Yeah, that's so true. And that leads me to the next question, Marilina. You've mentioned, empowering them and with your ethical, facts in place. That brings me to your success stories. I mean, you've got the whole vision, your mission, your plan in place for the butterfly, but putting into practical, putting into practice, how has it been for those people, on the ground? And how can you share some success stories about that today?
We cannot say that a project is successful if it has not produced outcomes, tangible and measurable outcomes. So I'm ready to open to whoever approach us. That makes me proud and happy of all the efforts and that we made so far. We have sorted successfully 40 cases, many of related to inclusion in mainstream education. I remember the first time that I started, and this is another story, but when I got selected by MAN, I was ready to meet people and to sort problems for everybody, but I wasn't ready. So I met a child with cerebral palsy that at the age of 10, he was never been in school. And so I remember that he said, Marilena, we would appreciate very much, also his family, if you could help this child. But at the time, I didn't have the resource. I was new. I didn't know what to do. After 1 year and a half, I remembered really that child. I had the resource, I had help from other association. I want to mention the collaboration that we are having with the UAE Relief Initiative, an amazing organization. And so after 2 years, we were able, at the age probably 11 now, no, now 12, to include this child for the first time in education. So this is what these small stories, they are something that are a life change for an individual. And for me, it's worth every effort that we make at the Butterfly. And when I say we make, because initially it was Marilena, but now we have 10 members, strong women. Let's not forget of Abdullah, our PR, but we are very strong individuals, and most people of determination, mothers of people of determinations, parents, siblings, and we believe in what we do, and we are very committed.
That's amazing.
So this is only one story, but there are so many stories. Actually, if you visit us in our Instagram page, um, we have highlights about testimonial, and you can hear directly from parents' testimonials, which are very proud of it.
Absolutely. And Marilina, I know at this point, because I've been working with you for almost 2 years as a volunteer, can I just ask you, if you don't mind, to share the story of the child who was put into school after many, many struggles, and many applications were made for this child. I mean, you can better explain the story. And at the end, there was a huge success with this particular
Yeah,
student.
we were at the end we were crying for happiness because was a child that came from the United States with his family. He moved in the UAE and is an autistic child, and the family sent 30 letter of applications, but the child was rejected by all 30 schools, and the butterfly intervened, and we approached all the schools, and we got also many negative reply, and but at the end we managed. We found a school, we managed, and nowadays we still work and collaborate with the school. But I also, and it was a great celebration. It was a big celebration. I think it was our first successful case at the butterfly, and that encouraged us to keep going. But at the same time, I wish to say that things are changing. We saw enormous changes in the last 2 years in terms of inclusion in education. Still, a lot has to be implemented to make not education inclusive, but for the child to have a sense of belonging to the school. It's not enough to say I'm included. It's necessary I'm included, but I belong. I feel that I'm part. So it requires time, skills, um, policies, practices, new revision of so many aspects of inclusion, but certainly we are on the right path.
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is so true.
encouraging. It's encouraging.
Yeah, and the power of advocacy is the power of advocacy is what led you to these success stories, um, having true, like you mentioned, being accepted, and then feeling part of the schooling system. Or the child you mentioned who was 12 years old hadn't been to school for all his life. So this surely demonstrates the power of advocacy.
Many times parents are overwhelmed by many issues, many challenges, that having a professional advocate but by their side make a huge difference. They don't feel alone. They feel supported. They really feel supported, and they are grateful. And we see that from the message that we receive on our WhatsApp platform, the sense of belonging. It's like a a nice community. So we have this community of 160 families in Abu Dhabi. We have 30 families in Alain, and we are starting soon in Dubai because it's much needed also in Dubai. So we are growing. We are growing
Absolutely.
for the benefits, for the benefit of all the community.
Yeah, absolutely. This is beautiful. Really, Marilina, this has been such a great discussion between yourself, and just to to see how powerful advocacy is, and supporting people of determination, their families in the UAE, and sharing your success stories with the audience today has it's an eye opener. Really, it really is an eye opener. And as a parent, I can truly say, approach the butterfly, because as parents we do get very emotional. I'm a parent of a child on the spectrum, and we often get very emotional, and we forget um,
Mhm.
how it is, and how to really use our voice properly, and then to go to someone like yourself, the butterfly, and gain that support can be life-changing.
I would also encourage not just people of determination and families to approach us, but also this journey, it shouldn't be a responsibility of one person, one organization, and a bunch of volunteers. And this is something that is human rights based. So I think we need to move the collectivity to collaborate and to participate more. So we need to have the private, the public sector all together. I'm not saying supporting the butterfly, but all together joining forces to, to make sure that the many butterflies are there supporting more parents and more
Absolutely.
people of determination.
Thank you, Marilina, for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for such valuable information. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave it open now, Jacob, for any question and answers that have come through the platforms. And Jacob will ask the questions, Marilina.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm still waiting on people to get, well, I wouldn't say the courage, but hopefully ready, because we really would love to hear from you. But if I may, I do have a question, Marilina, if that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned and Uzma as well mentioned when it comes to parents. And so the challenges that parents might be facing at home, what tips have you got for them when it comes to everyday, to the daily routines?
Okay, so certainly parents, they would, first of all, there is a sense of isolation and alienation. Parents and families relies on for help on the small family, family members or very inner circle of friends. So having somebody to a community, even on WhatsApp, on a digital platform, online, to share not just the emotional challenges, but also where do I go to find a particular service. Of course, there is much more need of support and help. There is need of home services. Let's say it would be good if there is an occupational therapist, or if there is an advocate that can visit the family at home whenever the family cannot reach out. But there are not, what our impact is big, even if we believe it's quite big, even if we are not doing, no, we are not doing as much as we could do. I think there is space to support parents at home, to support parents. Let's say if we had centers where the kids can be dropped few hours a day and for vocational training or activities, socialize, that would be great. But we don't have many options available. Or if we had schools that they consider inclusion not just from an academic point of view, but from a socializing point for kids, to allow kids 2 hours to feel part of the school, although it's not academic related, but from a social point of view, that would make a huge difference. If we had, as I say, home services, people that can give a break to parents and say, you can go out and I'm staying here, because this is basic. This is really basic as it sounds. And some extra help for parents, or also guidance. We try to give as much as guidance as possible, but there is much more need of guidance. If you get, I know that the Early Childhood Authority is doing a great work on early intervention and on implementing a centralized guide, because when a family get a child, and the child is get a diagnosed any kind of diagnosis, the family is in denial. There are so many aspects and so many forms of support that are needed, and unfortunately they're not there at the moment. But I know that the community development department, with all the I'm talking specific about Abu Dhabi because my main experience is in Abu Dhabi. I know that the new disability strategy has more than 30 initiatives that is going to be implemented in the coming years in the educational, vocational, employment, early intervention. So I'm really optimistic and positive, but it needs time, Jacob. There is no one solution that fits all, you know. There are going to be many there needed.
That's true, absolutely. But I'm really happy to hear that, you know, your optimism really is it's being voiced out. And yes, I think hope and being optimistic is a great step by itself. So it's always great to see you know, like people like you doing what they're doing.
And Jacob, we have to pass this optimism to parents, because parents are really tired and disheartened many times, and most of the time. So they have to be encouraged and say things are happening. And there is also, you know, what the butterfly wants to do. On one side, there are people of determination and the families. On the other side, there are the service providers. We are a kind of connector, and we report to the government agency, but also we report from the government to the people and say, we reassure you that things are happening there,
True.
and you will see many changes coming.
True, yeah. The way it, you know, like both sides, that the way
Yeah.
traffic works. So
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, yes. I mean, communication is extremely important. So if we help communication between entities, and if we can help aggregating and maximizing efforts, uh, that is a success.
Absolutely. Right, back to you, Asma.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. I mean, those are the questions that I had for Marilina today, and I'm just hoping if there's anyone in the audience that has any questions, you know, feel free to ask Marilina.
Yeah.
If not, then we can say we can wrap up, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we can wrap up. And yeah, the audience can always you know, reach with their questions and comments afterwards, and absolutely Marilina here will be hopefully taking care of all the comments and questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. They can reach us at the Butterfly Instagram page. Maybe we can share in the chat our page, and you know,
Yeah.
the butterfly.de, and also our email, info at the butterfly.de. Please don't hesitate to contact us, and we will try to help as much as possible.
Absolutely. So I think Jacob has been sharing the email address or the website in the chat here. Feel free to contact Marilina. And yeah, I think the website here, should we share the email address too? Or the website is enough.
Yeah, put them all.
Okay, perfect.
So thanks again for having me. It's a pleasure, and I love this series. So I look forward to your next. And so is this, if you have the recording of this, maybe we can share this interview. We can share with all the families in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Al Ain, all the one. members of the Butterfly.
Absolutely, yeah.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. We'll share that
Thank
with you, Marilena.
Thank you.
Thank-
Thanks again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.